So this is Danny Flexen here for SecondsOut. Delighted to be joined by my good friend, German heavyweight Christian Thun. Christian, how are you doing?
Good, Danny. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. It's been ages. I didn't realise quite how long it had been. So Michael Hobart, I was speaking to him the other day because I did an interview with Vladimir Shishkin, and he said, "Oh, Christian would like to do another interview," and I thought, "God, that must have been a long time then." And I looked, I think it was 2022
Yeah,
when we
yeah.
did the last one, and I think I might be a bit of a bad luck, a bit of a jinx on you because it wasn't long after that interview you actually suffered your first defeat.
Yeah.
Um,
No. It's nothing to do with you. Then it's
you
nothing to
sure?
do with you. Yeah, I'm 100% sure. Yo, but well, time flies. That's also pretty crazy because if I think back 2022, it feels like last week, but it's actually 2 years ago, you know. So
Yeah,
it's really and look now, I mean technically next week or in 10 days time, another half year's gone.
yeah.
You know, we're already halfway through the year. It's I really don't know how this happened, but somehow we're halfway through the year. It's crazy.
Tell us about that fight. I know it's not a nice memory to go back to, but Curtis Harper, what went wrong in that
Yeah.
majority decision loss?
Well, I would say everything possible that could have gone wrong went wrong. Not in that fight, only like well, also in the training camp. I broke my hand actually, and I was, you know what, the broken hand was not even like the main thing. I had some issues with sleep. Those were really like the main issues. Like my sleep issues were so severe that they actually shadowed a broken hand. The broken hand that needed surgery. It was really nothing really that bad. I lost the fight, and then, I really said to myself, okay, we need to do something about this sleeping thing because when you have insomnia, you really forget boxing, forget all that stuff. You really are a shadow of yourself. It's not a pleasant life. So, we took some time out and, we figured things out a little bit. And I had surgery on my hand, by the way. I needed to get my tendon kind of pulled back up so they could fix it. I have a little pin and they're holding everything together. Long story short, I shouldn't have fought for various reasons, and I had so many issues going on privately as well. I just should not have fought. It was just ridiculous. But I thought, you know what? Let's do it anyways. You just be able to somehow soldier through it and somehow this and somehow that. But somehow I ended up losing. And so it was really a reckless decision for me to fight. And we've taken some time off. We've dealt with I've been somewhat unlucky as well because we dealt with my broken hand, we dealt with all that stuff. And then a year and a half later, I made my comeback fight in January in Miami at the Hard Rock. And again, I broke my hand.
Oh,
My right hand again, so I was
same
out
one, yeah.
again. This time it was my ring finger and my right ring finger, just to remind me that I should never get married. And so it was also frustrating, but it wasn't as bad. I just had my finger in like a cast for 9 weeks, and no surgery, no nothing. Because the other one, when you break your hand and it's a bone, it's not really too much of a problem. But if you actually break the bone and the tendon, when the tendon just snaps, then it really takes time to heal, and you need to have surgery. The tendon has to be pulled up, and you need to have, it's a way longer process. Therefore, although my hand was broken, I was lucky it was only a finger. It was only a bone in a finger and not a tendon or anything as such. So, we've once again had to endure with that thing. And now we're back. And I think there are many interesting things happening now in the heavyweight division with all the fights being made, with all the opportunities that Saudi Arabia and are essentially creating. I think it's a very, very exciting thing. Now, I'm myself also really excited because I know that there is actually a chance for really big thing to actually happen, not just one day maybe this and that. Things can happen quite quickly now. So I'm now motivated to make my I guess I can call it comeback fight again in June 7th at the Hard Rock in
Yeah.
Hard Rock Hotel and Casino in Hollywood, Florida. And I'm fighting against a pretty seasoned guy. His name is Onoriode. Excuse me butchering his surname, Ehwarieme, I believe. He's a Nigerian
I'm
gentleman.
so glad you said it first because I've got it written
Yeah,
down, but I wasn't confident at all.
yeah. I mean, I myself also a little bit confused. I apologize because I've butchered his name, but he's a very well seasoned fighter. He's fought in the Olympics too, in the 2008 Olympics, though,
Wow.
nearly 2 decades ago. But he's good. He's still quite young. I think he's in the mid 30s, and he's got like 20 wins, 19 knockouts. He's got like a couple losses now, and it'll be a good test once again. And I'm looking forward to fight against him. He's definitely, I would say, the best guy that I've fought so far, and it's a serious challenge. Therefore, we are, all cylinders are firing, and I'm very inspired for this fight. And I think he just lost against Jalolov in the first round.
2 minutes.
He got knocked out, and the plan is to do something similar, and then fight some of these bigger names. I love somebody like Jalolov, somebody like Ehwarieme, but something like down around that alley. I think those would be not only great fights for me, but also great fights for the fans. I mean, you have Jalolov 6'8", 9", whatever. Me 6'9". It could arguably be the tallest fight in heavyweight history if we would really measure them up inch by inch. It's actually kind of interesting, the statistics that you can come up with. But and yeah, it's it's also funny. I've had 10 fights so far, and 5 of those were southpaw. Can you believe it?
Wow.
So
matchmaker doesn't like you.
Yeah, matchmaker doesn't like me. But on the other hand, I kind of like. What can I say? Like, I really don't mind southpaws too much. Actually, like, it is what it is, type of thing. I mean, if you just know how to deal with them, they're actually, I think, easier. Just have to know how. And I have a bit of a southpaw kind of history in me. I'm gonna go back to the roots, back in East London, Canning Town, at the world famous Peacock Gym, in that little back room that they have there, or they had there, where the amateurs used to train. We had a pretty good southpaw back in the day at the gym. I'm sure you know him. His name is Woody Camacho.
Of course.
Woody the Macho Camacho. And he was training there as an amateur, and then he turned over and he turned pro. He actually, I think he was training at TKO gym once he turned pro, but I sparred a lot with him when we were both amateurs, and he turned pro. And so he was like the next best thing to a heavyweight in the gym. I mean, he was a cruiserweight. I was an amateur super heavyweight. He was just way more experienced than me. This is, wow, probably like 12, 14, 15 years ago. It's crazy, actually, how time flies. And so, yeah, I was sparring a lot with Woody Camacho, with a southpaw. So a lot of my my first boxing kind of experiences, type of thing, they were against the southpaw. So I think I have somehow in my boxing DNA, I have some kind of southpaw-esque way of thinking, way of reading. So that's why I really don't mind them too much.
Let me ask you, you talked about the problems you had sleeping. How did you go about addressing that, the insomnia? How did you, because I'm assuming it's not a problem anymore.
Yeah, well, so, there's various things. As a matter of fact, I went as deep as to create my own supplement for this, So it's actually like, this was I really had a kind of holistic approach to this, because I've tried to change my diets. I've tried to. So essentially, what happened with me is my insomnia was caused by, over the years, I used to sleep a little bit bad, then drink too much coffee, then sleep worse, then drink too much coffee. And if you do this over years, where you essentially compensate your lack of sleep with drinking coffee, you dig yourself in a very, very deep hole where you just kind of compensate your lack of sleep with too much coffee. And, caffeine sits in your system for 8-10 hours. So even if your cup of coffee at 4, a cup, I mean, I used to drink like buckets. In America, they have all these Starbucks things, this and that. So I used to have drinking coffee like I was drinking water. And, coffee also creates certain, like levels of anxiety and certain level of stress. And lack of sleep also creates massive amounts of stress and anxiety. Therefore, I was in like a very stressed kind of, like my body, my nervous system were really, really, really stressed. So what happened was that I've, believe it or not, I've developed actually 2 supplements. One is a nighttime supplement that you take. It has like 7 different compounds, like melatonin, ashwagandha root, that help you to wind down, calm down, relax. ZMA, by the way, ZMA was developed by Victor Conte a big supplement for fighters to be able to sleep so they can relax their body. And then I've developed also a morning supplement which you take that just gives you that kind of stable energy throughout the day without having that crash. So you won't need to drink again coffee because you don't have that energy crash that caffeine gives. And I mean, this was one of the things that I've kind of I've did to solve my sleeping issues. And like the main thing is stress. You have to reduce stress, but it's hard to reduce stress when you don't sleep well. When you don't sleep well, you're automatically more stressed.
Yeah.
So you really have to kind of take a slow approach to it. It's like a month or 2-month journey or project where you have to really be able to lower the stress a little bit, sleep a little bit better, and kind of just like slowly get there. And there are many supplements out there which help, many like natural calming supplement that you can take, completely drug-free, natural stuff that you can take that, helps a little bit. It's that like 5%, that 3, 4, 5% that may actually help you to fall asleep and to remain asleep. My problem was that I just couldn't fall asleep. Once I was asleep, I would wake up also, but my mind was always like, this is racing. And I know there's so many people suffer of sleeping issues, but what I used to do, I used to drown myself in ZQL or like sleeping, like medicine.
Sure.
And that stuff just like completely fucks you up. So the combination of drowning yourself in sleeping medicine to just barely sleep a couple hours, and then the next day compensating it with drinking crazy amounts of coffee led me to be pretty much a walking zombie. And this was really no way of living. Forget fighting, no way of being alive. So, we had to really solve this thing. But now I'm surprisingly sleeping really good. I consider myself actually one of the better sleeping individuals out there. When I see friends of mine, they may not have insomnia, but they may, I didn't sleep well. I'm actually sleeping well nearly every night.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's
awesome.
It's really impressive how things can change if you approach them the right way.
And let me ask you, last time we did an interview, as we said, it was nearly 2 years ago now, you were sharing the interview with SugarHill Steward in the gym.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and obviously we know for a long time and still now you work with Michael Hobart. Have you been working alongside Sugar as well, or is it just Michael?
Well, to be honest, I've just been training with Michael. I've seen Sugar, when did I see him? I think last month I saw him. But mainly we just hung out. Basically, he came to the gym as well. We did a bit of training. But Sugar and I mean, he's more than anything. He's just a friend and somebody I look up to, basically, in terms of like boxing know-how and knowledge, and as a person too. But we just haven't had the chance to really work together because he was traveling a lot and busy with his other fighters. He said he has obviously Tyson, then he said, in the UK, all the other guys that he had. But then, when he was in Florida, like in 2020, in late 22, early 23, I was injured, because I had surgery in August 22. And I couldn't punch for close to 9 months. I had a cast on, and then I had physio, but it was a long thing. And, so the training was more just, staying fit, running a little bit here and there, doing things like this. Didn't really do much, too much boxing. But I saw him. He's well, and it's always great to see him. He's a master coach.
And Michael mentioned you were doing some work in the camp of Filip Hrgovic. Is that right?
Yes, I'm actually now in Houston right now.
Okay.
I'm sparring. I've been sparring now with Filip for a couple of weeks, and it's really good to be here. Also for myself, because I'm fighting this Onoriode, who's I guess similar height and similar kind of style Filip has. And Filip is looking really well. He's looking really strong. I think he's looking the best he's ever looked. And it's going to be an exciting fight. I know what you're going to ask next. You're going to ask who you think is going to win.
You've sparred Daniel, haven't you?
I've sparred Daniel quite a lot as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So let me put a very analytical kind of analysis of this, and not just he punches hard. I think both are pretty good punchers, definitely. Both are in their own way very good boxers. Filip has that more like I guess like Eastern European Klitschko-esque sort of style, whereas Daniel Dubois is more like very bouncy, like UK style, bouncy everything, straight field pipe, good body shots. He's like both are really good boxers. But what really makes the difference here, I believe, that Filip is actually a tough man. Like he's actually like, if there would be a scale, he'd be like on the tougher end of things, right? Whereas Daniel, if you're a professional heavyweight boxer, you're certainly already tough. So he's definitely already on the tough side of things, but he's a bit less than that. We've seen him before where he's left a couple of question marks. Not really the Joyce fight because broken orbital bone, I guess is and I think it was an interview with you as well where I said if you feel any sort of weird things in your head, it's just not worth risking anything. If you feel any kind of pain, if you have a broken hand or your elbow, your ribs, whatever, once you start to mess about with your brain, it's really throw in the towel, leave it, rest to fight another day. But we've seen him here and there a couple of times against Kevin Lorena, against Usyk too. There were a couple of question marks. And I just think that Hrgovic will be too much for him. Boxing wise, I think it may be a bit of a cagey chess match, this and that, but I just think that he's going to be too much. He's too tough, too strong. He moves also really well. He boxes well on his back foot, Hrgovic, or rather, not really on his back foot. He can move around the ring really well on his back foot, I guess. And but still, interesting fight. Anything can happen, and that's why we love boxing so much.
And you said that Hrgovic has a similar style to your next opponent, which is beneficial for you. But you don't have a particularly similar style to Dubois, I would suggest. What's the thinking there?
Well, what the thinking is. Filip and I, we've sparred before many times, and he knows that I come to bring the heat type of thing. Many guys in sparring, not necessarily in this camp, but they just come there, they just kind of jab about for a round or two, shell up, and they sit type of stuff, But when I spot Filip or when I spot anybody, I always come, I may have my bad day as well, but I always come and throw big shots, big bombs, and I'm a big lump, I'm 275 pounds. I guess, heavier than, I guess I'm 20 odd pounds heavier than Daniel Dubois. But still, I really come to really, I come to fight, basically. I think that's what they want, just the size and that energy sort of stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense. Fury Usyk, we're going to talk about, of course, as you would expect, because it's less than a week away now. Yeah. Tell us first of all, though, about the time you spent with Tyson Fury previously.
Yeah. So Tyson is, he was really fantastic to hang about. But I'll tell you how I met Tyson, actually. So Tyson, I was walking around in the Encore Hotel in Las Vegas. I was holding a cup of coffee and a sandwich, 9 a.m. in Vegas.
Coffee, of course.
Everybody, yeah, exactly. Everybody, all the party girls are kind of dragging their drunk body back home. And then I see a big lump walking towards me with a Versace bathing robe, And I said, hang on, is it Tyson Fury? And he was Tyson Fury and his brother Tommy. And then, I kind of stood there for a second, just thinking, hang on, am I looking at a mirage or something? Or is it actually... Well, next thing you know, I listened to him. I said, Tyson, how are you? And he did meet me once before, but just very briefly. And he said, yeah, how are you coming at breakfast with me? So, we went, up to his suite, had breakfast, and it was just kind of surreal because him and his brother Tom were both super welcome. And yes, sit down, you want to eat this, eat that, drink this, drink that. We were just there yeah. And then he said, come on, let's go down the gym. So then next thing you know, we are on our way to the Top Rank gym. And I didn't spar him that day, but I sparred somebody else, I think. And out of coincidence, then he was coming to Miami a couple of weeks after to train. So we kind of, started to train together in Miami. And it was, and he actually stayed close to where I stayed. So, we managed to spend some time together, especially in the gym. We were working together. And I guess we were, we were just spending time together in the gym, more in an off-cam kind of situation, just taking over training. I was sparring there and he was, watching. He was telling me, it's good to see, big men that can move and they can really fight, not just stick behind the jab and just kind of have the Klitschko style, whatever. And then we said that we'll meet again in Vegas for the Wilder camp. And this is what happened. I think the Wilder camp was actually soon after. And
that's
this is
the
what
second Wilder fight, is it?
Yes, because for the first Wilder fight, I was actually with Deontay Wilder until he broke his hand on my elbow and the fight got postponed. It's a separate story for another day. For the second Wilder fight. So then, we're training there and sparring. And it was all good. But you know what I'm thinking now? Then everybody got COVID actually, and the COVID story is true. Tyson had COVID, everybody had COVID. I was the only one who didn't have COVID. Michael, my coach, had actually had a really bad COVID infection. He wasn't bad. He was really he lost 20 pounds. He was really messed up. I was the only one who didn't have COVID because I think I've had it overall probably half a dozen times. So my yeah. Immune system now is completely protected against COVID. So so the whole kind of camp mojo after 2 or 3 weeks got kind of ruined by everybody getting sick and having COVID. So unfortunately that kind of stuff finished. But long story short, to answer your question now, it was really, really good to be with Tyson. I've learned a lot by looking at him. I still remember he said to me, Christian, you have to fight the boxer and box the fighter. Obviously, it kind of, I guess it's a boxing saying, and I've heard it before. But when he said it, it really clicked. Because I was sparring with a couple of guys that were like really phenomenal Olympic boxers, and he was a bit cagey and it was a bit difficult because you don't want to box with these guys. Some of them are really good. We were just telling me, just go forward, go forward. That's what we did, and I was having great success. And I still, it was just overall a great situation to be in, a great camp, and it was just everything was really good. Apart from that COVID thing, the fight got postponed, then it was all just turned out to be a bit of a night. But yeah, it was really, really good. I learned a lot.
And did you spar him at all, or was it you sparring other people?
Yeah. No. I sparred him quite a bit as well, and he was really good. Actually, he was the last guy that has really stunned me in the ring.
Wow.
You don't know. Yeah.
Because a lot of people suggest maybe he doesn't have the power that his size would suggest.
No. I can confirm that he does. I'm telling you, he's the last guy that has stunned me in the boxing ring. So what happened was I was kind of like sitting, not necessarily in the ropes, but I was like towards the ropes, and he's got the 1-2, step back, 1-2. That's like the new Tyson Fury thing. That's like the SugarHill Tyson Fury, I get 3.0. That's his move from this kind of era thing. And he landed the 1-2, step back, 1-2, both, on my head. And I really felt it. I looked and suddenly I had like 3 Tyson Furies in front of me. No jokes aside, it was a good shot, and I still remember that. But this was one type of Tyson Fury that you would spar, because sometimes you spar Tyson Fury was really coming to fight, and it was really I loved that. It was really so it was really great. We were having really great sessions there. And then you would have the Tyson Fury would come to box, and it would be so hard to hit. Then he'd switch southpaw, and he has that southpaw style. He leans kind of back and kind of flicks you with his southpaw jab, and that's in a complete nightmare, because then you can just forget about hitting it, basically. So yeah, it was really a great experience to spar him. So it's funny because you have 3 different Tyson Furies that you can really encounter. You can encounter the like the moving, sticking behind his orthodox jab type of Tyson. It's already hard enough. Then you have like the southpaw, I'm leaning back Tyson Fury. That's also kind of a nightmare. This southpaw Tyson Fury leaning back with the jab, he did really well against Chisora in their second fight. You remember?
Yeah.
The second fight, 5, 6, 7 years ago. And then
I was there. It was actually 10 years ago.
10, yeah, crazy.
Almost. It was late 2014.
Yeah, there you go. It
was at the XL Arena. I was there.
At the XL, yeah, incredible. And well, then you have the Tyson Fury that we've seen in the Wilder fight. When he just comes forward and just really kind of fights, especially in the third Wilder fight, where he arguably came forward even too much and nearly risked the fight by being put down a couple of times. But all three of these versions of Tyson Fury are really great, and it was great to share the ring with him.
And then the obvious follow-up question to that: it's 6 days away as we talk now. How do you see that fight panning out?
This is kind of interesting because everybody's focusing. Oh, Tyson Fury looks so bad against Ngannou and this and that. Yes, I agree, and I think he also agrees, and everybody agrees with this. However, let's now look back to Oleksandr Usyk's last performances. So I'm gonna kind of jump between them. I'm not gonna go for every single one of them. So let's start from Derek Chisora, his first real test at heavyweight. You remember, also probably 4 years ago, or a couple of years ago. Alexander Krasniuk, his promoter, said he was surprised that Usyk actually won that fight, because the fight could have gone both ways, in his opinion, and in my opinion also. And Derek Chisora by no means the Tyson Fury. I mean, we've seen Derek as an incredible, especially fighter that he is. He's lost against Tyson Fury 3 times. I know styles make fights, different things, etc. However, we've seen struggle against Derek Chisora. Then actually, let's even go further back. Let's go back to Tony Bellew. Okay, he's knocked Tony Bellew out in the 7th or 8th round or whatever. But up until then, it was a close fight.
Sure.
And as much as I love Tony Bellew, he's actually one of my favorite fighters. And what a career he's had, all his ups and downs. I remember actually, all the over Mackenzie, Stevenson, all these. He's really incredible, the career that he's had. But he's not Tyson Fury. Let's put it this way. Then let's now jump forward again to the performances that Usyk had against Joshua. Yes, he did beat Joshua twice, quite convincingly. However, he also encountered Joshua in the best possible time to encounter Joshua. The first fight was when he had like three trainers. He was all just a mess, and everybody could see that he was just like such a confusing environment to be in. As a fighter, I can tell you, there's nothing worse than having like situations in your camp where everybody's like a bit uncomfortable and everything's a bit weird and you don't know what coaching to listen to. He tells you throw the jab like this. He tells you do not throw the jab like this. It's just like a very confusing thing, especially on Joshua being such a boxing purist that he is, because he's actually really interested in the science of boxing and all this stuff. I think he really struggled with that. That's why he also changed things after that first fight. So he beat Joshua in that fight. In that first fight which they had, where Joshua had, this crazy coaching issues, this and that. In the second fight which they had, he also beat Joshua, although Joshua, I think, has done better. He's hurt him to the body also in that one round. And then Usyk came back the next round, probably where he, did, like the best round in the whole fight. So we're going to give credit to Usyk for that as well. But once again, he beat Joshua when Joshua was at his lowest, arguably. He didn't encounter Joshua. I think Joshua now would give Usyk more problems in a couple of fights. If they fight 10 times, maybe they, both win in 5 fights, basically. So, yes, this now leads us to the answer to your question. I think that Tyson is going to win the fight. I think that Usyk is going to struggle with the long reach of Tyson. And Tyson's not going to be there to be hit. Tyson's going to be staying well out of range, and he may make the fight, I don't want to say boring. He will make the fight strategically so to win it. This is the biggest fight now you can debate arguably in boxing history, arguably, or at least we know the heavyweight division somewhat rules the boxing world, and this is the fight for all the belts, for all the marble, as I say. So I think Tyson is going to win, not because I like Tyson and not because we've trained together and all this stuff. I think Usyk, I've never met him, but I like him too as a fighter, and he portrays himself really well. But I just think it's going to be keeping Usyk, behind his long jab, behind his shots. Then we've also seen Usyk's body a little bit, let's not forget Usyk against Daniel Dubois. That body shot, we can all agree it was questionable. It was clearly on the belt. Whether that thing was low or not low, I guess we can now argue over this for the next week or so. But we can all agree it was questionable. But still, it was not a hit on your balls. He got hit like somewhere on the belt area, so he didn't have the pain from like a low blow. When you get hit in your nuts, is a different. I get it. That's not nice.
It's been a while, but yeah.
Yeah. Some people actually like it, but I doubted that Usyk and myself and you are part of this sort of.
No, we're not among those people.
So he got hit with a body shot by Dubois, and it hurt. And let's see now. Tyson Fury is a massive body puncher, and I just think that he's gonna just do really well. He's gonna keep Usyk behind the jab. He's gonna be landing that right long hook to the side of Usyk's body. That and against the southpaw, that southpaws love to land that shot on orthodox fighters. It works really well, but it works just as well for orthodox fighters against southpaws. As a matter of fact, we've seen Kambosos try to land it last night against Lomachenko. He was trying to time him, but it was Loma was just too good to let that happen. So once again, to answer your question, I think Tyson's going to be winning. Probably, I'm going to tell you how, by unanimous decision or some kind of like a bit of a weird split decision, because Usyk won't let himself get knocked out. First of all, that just will be very difficult. Even if Usyk feels that, oh shit, I'm about to get hit with something, he's going to run around and just make it a nightmare to he knows he's a master at his craft. And I don't think he's the type of guy to just kind of stand there and trade and risk it all type of stuff. So if he sees that things that are gonna get like too difficult or too risky to get knocked out, he's just gonna get on his bike and just run away and just see what he can do that way, and maybe hope for a weird scorecard or whatever. So yeah, to answer your question, Tyson's gonna win. I think by UD he's gonna win by keeping him behind his jab, landing good, solid, those like right hooks or whatever, right uppercuts to Usyk's body, and that's all she wrote. I think that's pretty much the This is how the fight is going to be. However, Usyk, incredible fighter. Tyson, of course, also, you know, and it's a fight that both guys can really win. If Tyson goes in and tries to, you know, chase him down the ring, and if Tyson is like chasing Usyk down the ring and trying to, you know, kind of brawl with him, it'll be a hard night. And I don't think he's going to do that. He's, you know, they're all way too, you know, seasoned and smart to allow that to happen. He's going to be sticking behind his jab, going to be in his long reach, and I think Usyk going to struggle to get in there. He's yeah.
Great stuff. Christian, really appreciate it. Just before I let you go, remind people how they can find you on social media so they can get in touch and have a look at you before the 7th of June.
Yes. Thank you, Daniel. Always a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for having me. Thank you guys for listening and for potentially following my journey. My name is Christian Thun, and my Instagram is Christian Thun _official. You can follow me there. Please do write. Please get in touch. I love to, you know, speak with you and hear with you, debate with you guys. Always good to have constructive boxing talks with, you know, the fans and everybody involved in the sport.
Awesome. We won't leave it 2 years next time.
Yeah. Cheers, Danny. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.
And you, mate.